milking time at the Nelson farm in the small city of Wisconsin Dells. In the last 15 years, the number of dairy farms here have shrunk by half, and increasingly many farmers are declaring bankruptcy. Donald Nelson has farmed since the 1950s.
This is the most difficult time period that I've ever experienced. And we've been losing money probably for the last 4 years. And we've had to subsidize that with some of our assets. We've cashed in an insurance policy, large insurance policy, and it's been very difficult.
Good morning, Wisconsin Farm Center. This is Angie.
The Wisconsin Farm Center was set up in the 1980s to provide support for farmers in a state known as America's Dairyland. They say they are inundated with calls from financially stressed farmers.
Well, we've seen the highest call numbers we've seen in about a decade. We're about 10% higher than we were last year in calls. The level of stress that we're hearing come through the phone line has definitely increased.
According to state agricultural statistics, twice as many farmers declared bankruptcy in Wisconsin, Illinois, and Indiana in 2018 compared to 2008. Farmers have been hammered by lower commodity prices, oversupply, and retaliatory tariffs from China and Mexico after the US levied import tariffs of its own last year. Farm income is down around 50% compared to 2013.
After years of lower prices in various agricultural sectors, it would appear that many farmers now face an agonizing decision. Keep going and hope for a sudden change, while also running the risk of losing more money, or quit farming completely.
After 40 years of farming, Jim Goodman made the decision to retire. He says it wasn't in his plans, but he felt in the current climate he had no choice.
I, had fully intended to keep farming as long as I was physically able to do it. When it came to the point that the cows had to go, I guess that was kind of the end of my farming. And some farmers are getting milk checks with a zero on them because they have deductions taken out for various things. And if you get a paycheck and there's nothing there, what do you buy your food with? What do you pay for your heating bills with?
There is hope. The government's farm bill, passed last December, will provide billions in aid to farmers impacted by the trade tariffs. But unless commodity prices increase, farmers will continue to suffer.
If they have a chance to just maintain without going out of business or claiming bankruptcy and hold on until something shifts, then that's what we try to do. I mean, our main goal, we always say in the Farm Center, is to keep farmers farming.
For an increasing number of farmers this past year, it's simply too late. Dan Williams, CGTN, Wisconsin Dells.
Hi, Shalom. I want to begin this lesson by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah, Wahar Rakah Kodash, which in the ancient Hebrew tongue would be the correct names of the Heavenly Father, His beloved Son, and the Holy Spirit. I also would like to give double honors to my teachers, the head apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Much due honors and respect to the sincere brethren out there that's also laboring in his work. And as always, want to say shalom to the believers, the Akim as well as the Aqua, which would be you brothers along with the sisters that subscribe to this truth as well. So yeah, what you just saw in the opening clip was nothing more than a testament, of the crumbling of America. And this is pretty much a surgical strike at the hand of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah. All right? Because when you consider the farmlands, of America, which is pretty much located in the heartland, the Midwest, this is the very source of the lifeline of America right here, which the cutting off of America's supplies is pretty much going to be the first domino, if you will, that's going to set off the sequence of events, which is going to come in the form of the different plagues, from first and foremost, that great famine, that's said to sweep through America, which is going to lead to, the uprising of the people. When there's no bread or water, then this causes a panic, you see? And you Americans, according to studies and statistics, is the most obese people on the planet Earth. Hell, you people eat 3 times a day, faithfully, man, okay? A lot of you Americans, you eat for whatever occasion. Whether it's a graduation, you go out to eat. A funeral, you eat. You land a new job, you eat. You look at your clock and you realize, oh, I haven't ate yet. And that's your cue to eat. Well, guess what? That's pretty much Yahweh Shemi Hawashai fattening the the sheep for the slaughter, man. Okay. Furthermore, this place, America, again, is the most obese country on the planet Earth. All right. So the cutting off of these farms, of late, starting, maybe 15 years ago, and they said the climax, if you will, was in 2016, where these different farmers began to see, the crops begin to not produce as expected. These different cornfields is dried out. All right. This is due as well to weather. Okay. Different floods, flooding out these crops and storms. And see, one thing about the farming business, if you're into agriculture or whatever, it's a seasonal thing. If your crops is not producing around a certain time, then you have to pretty much chalk it up as a loss. You have to wait to next season, because there's a time, to plant seeds and, cultivate the seeds. And then there's a time to harvest, you sow and then you reap the benefits. Well, if the time of sowing and plowing pretty much is not producing, then when it's time to reap, there's going to be nothing to reap. So you see a lot of these farmers in America, they're pretty much walking away, man. Because there's no hope. And this information is not really out there in the forefront, but this is a work of Yahweh Shema Shah. This is actually a war strategy right here. Matter of fact, before we move forward, let me grab a quick precept. This is Exodus, the 15th chapter, in the 3rd verse. It says, the Lord is a man of war. The Lord is his name, And the reason why I brung that out is because I want to bring out a little information before we really get into this lesson, all right? And what you see right here on the screen is a list of military strategies and concepts, okay? This is a list of military strategies. Anything from setting up ambushes, counterattacks, compelling the enemy to involuntarily believe in a certain way, by targeting the leadership, national communications, where you compromise the networking of different countries. And also you have what's known as blockade and siege, which applies to this lesson right here. And this is a strategy, that the Lord is using in an attempt to overthrow America, okay? So let's read it. It says blockade and siege. It says an attempt to cut off food. You see that? An attempt to cut off food, supplies, war material, or communications from a particular area by force. See that? So this is actually a effective and efficient war strategy right here. And when you go into the ancient world, this was used a lot, even to this very day. When you go into, for an example, the time of 70 AD, these devils, in the form of the Roman Empire, they cut off the supplies to Jerusalem, man. So what's happening now? The Lord is beginning to cut off the supplies to America. Again, it says an attempt to cut off food, supplies, war material, or communications, see, from a particular area by force. Yeah, and that's going to happen out here in America. The communication is going to be cut off, you know. Internet services and the power is going to go out here in America. But as it pertains to this lesson, the food is going to be cut off and the supplies. And the Lord is doing that by way of compromising these farmers, man. And guess what? This is all recorded in the Holy Scriptures, okay? This is the book of Jeremiah, the 50th chapter, and the 16th verse. It says, cut off the sower from Babylon, see? And the sower is the farmer, all right? And this prophecy has been fulfilled right before your eyes, man. See? See, what you people are going to come to find out is the Holy Bible is the most powerful book on the planet Earth. Why? Because it consists of prophecies, you know? And those prophecies is unfolding right before your eyes, you see? That's if you have eyes to see. But guess what? It's going to come a time where it's not going to be up for debate. You know, this thing is going to be made manifest, so much so to where everybody's going to see that this is the work of a higher power right here. See that? So again, Jeremiah 50 and 16, it says, cut off the sower from Babylon. Again, that's dealing with these farmers. And him that handleth the sickle. Yeah, and what's the sickle? When you look that word up, it's pretty much a farming tool. See? So who would handle a sickle? A farmer. See that? So this precept is concerning farming, okay? And these farmers here in Babylon, all right? Again, cut off the sower or the farmer from Babylon. See that? And him that handleth the sickle in the time of the harvest. See that? Because there's a certain time where these farmers look to, you know, harvest and reap benefits, you know? And a part of this is due to these different tariffs, okay? That's why when you go into the definition of that word blockade, again, it says an attempt to cut off food, supplies, war material, or communications from a particular area by force, usually taking place by sea. See, and that's heavy because America is an import nation, and everything is brought in usually by sea, all right, by these ships. So these different tariffs, you know, that you know, this guy Trump placed, you know, Mexico and mainly China, all right, is affecting these farmers. See, and you know, as I was doing that research, you know, the video that I used to open up this clip, you know, it was the shortest video, so I went with that. But if you go into that research, there's countless videos of these farmers and information where these farmers is complaining about these tariffs, okay? So everything is right on schedule, man, all right? This is the work of Yahweh Shem Yahushua right here, see? So again, Jeremiah 50 and 16, cut off the soil from Babylon and him that handleth the sickle in the time of harvest. For fear of the oppressing sword, they shall turn every one to his people, and they shall flee every one to his own land. Yeah, and you got a lot of these farmers, they just turning their back on the business, man. They're not seeing any profits. You know, a lot of these farmers saying that they receiving checks for $0, man. So, you know, they figure it is, you know, why will I even continue, man? You know, you had the one farmer who said he was planning on farming as long as he was able-bodied, you know, but he had to just cut it short. Guess what? That's this precept, man. Cut off the soil from Babylon, see? So these farmers is being cut off, and this is nothing to take light. This is nothing to gloss over, because this is the Lord pretty much, you know, striking America right at the source, man. And again, that's going to set off a sequence of events, which is going to lead to a great famine out here, all right? Matter of fact, this is our second Esdras. Second Esdras, the 15th chapter, and starting at the 12th verse, it says, Egypt shall mourn. Yeah, and it's Egypt right here, symbolic to America. See? Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten. Yeah, and what does it mean when it says the foundation? The very source, you know, the core of this place. And these farmlands and these farmers is a part of that foundation, you know? So the Lord is smiting this place at its very core, at its foundation. See? Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that Yahweh shall bring upon it. Yeah, and these farmers is suffering from the plague and punishment of Yahweh, which is affecting these crops, you know, these dairy farms, you see, which is pretty much the lifeline of America, man. All right, verse 13, they that till the ground shall mourn. Yeah, and these farmers would be considered those that till the ground. And what you just saw in the opening clip was evidence of that. You know, these farmers is beginning to mourn. See, again, they that till the ground shall mourn. You see that? These farmers is complaining, crying out, and pretty much mourning, man. Why? It says, for their seeds shall fail through the blasting in hell and with a fearful consolation. And that's what you see playing out right now, okay? Those that till the ground, which comes in the form of these farmers, is mourning because their seeds is failing. See that? And this was all foretold by Yahweh Shah. And it's actually taking place. It's coming to pass here in the latter days, man, which is all an effort to ultimately overthrow this place. This is not just some random, you know, act here, okay? This is a surgical strike. This is very methodical, you know? This is a strategic move by Yahweh Shah, all in effort to overthrow this place. And this crumbling, see, the effect is a crumbling process. You see, the Lord is going to take this place out. You know, it's going to be a torturous death. All right? The Lord is going to send forth his plagues and is going to smite America, you know, to the point where this place is stricken, and the ultimate is going to shoot those missiles, man, you know, and destroy it. But what we're witnessing right now is monumental, man. The overthrow of Babylon the Great, you know, and the things written in this book is coming to pass and proving that, you know, the Bible reigns supreme. Why? Because, again, it consists of prophecies, you know, and those prophecies is beginning to manifest itself. Matter of fact, let's end off with that in the book of 2nd Ezra, the 9th chapter. And starting at the first verse, it says, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself. And how do we measure the time? By way of the prophecies, man. The prophecies is pretty much a gauge, or that measuring stick, if you will, you know, where we can see where we at in this process, all right? It says, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before, which is the prophecies, then shalt thou understand that it be the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. And that's the time we're in. The Lord is visiting this place, you know, in the form of these different plagues. All right? Verse 3, therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, yeah, and we witnessing that. There's been diverse earthquakes all over, man, as well as uproars. You know, you got riots, you know, throughout the world, Paris, and, you know, even what we just saw in the opening clip was a subtle form of an uproar where these farmers is mourning, you know, and crying out. See? Verse 4, then shalt thou well understand, and this is dealing with those who have wisdom. We well understand where we at, man, in this process. See? Then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days, see, that were before thee, even from the beginning. Yeah, this was foretold, okay? The Lord forecasted everything that you see taking place from the beginning. Matter of fact, let's further prove that, and then we'll go back. What's that? The book of Isaiah the 46th chapter, and starting at the 9th verse, it says, "Remember the former things of old, for I am Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh, and there is none else. I am Yahweh, and there is none like me." Again, there's no other source you can go to that provides prophecy. That's why the scriptures tell you how none shall want her mate concerning the Holy Bible. Okay, this is the most powerful book on the planet Earth, and there's no other source, or text or writings that you can compare to this book, because again, it's compiled with prophecies. See, verse 10, declaring the end from the beginning. See, declaring the end from the beginning. And we just read in the book of Jeremiah, the 50th chapter, and 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter, where it was declared, back then in the ancient world, that these farmers was going to mourn here in Babylon, and that the soil would be cut off from Babylon. See? And him that till the ground and their seed shall fail. That was declared from the beginning. See? So again, it says declaring the end from the beginning, and from ancient times the things that are not yet done. See that? Saying, my counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasure. See? And the counsel of the Lord is standing sure, man. All right? So let's go back here to 2nd Ezra, the 9th chapter, in the 4th verse again. It says, thou shalt well understand, see, that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. See, verse 5, it says, for like as all that is made in the world have a beginning and an end, everything here on the planet Earth has a beginning and an end. All right? It says, and the end is manifest. When you go into the word manifest, it pretty much means to make obvious or make clear. So it's being made obvious that we at the end. See? So yeah, I just wanted to touch on that. Lord willing, it was edifying. Till the next time I say shalom.